Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show hosted by a French professor who's finally gonna stop sleeping on the South. It's about time. And I'm gonna stop sleeping on the South with this, I hope, interesting and deep review of the album Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin. Now, when I saw the title, I thought, wow, that's like a Beach Boys song, Heroes and Villains. Sort of the follow-up to Good Vibrations. Maybe that'll be an angle to approach this. And then I thought, well, actually, the album cover, look at that. It's a remake of the Wish You Were Here album cover of a person on fire shaking hands with someone who's not on fire, the Pink Floyd album. But that's not at all the direction I'm going. Instead, I'm really going to focus on something else. Really, let's think about this question of heroes and villains, because it's an important theme, I think. When I teach about the history of Haiti, I really emphasize the fact that it helps you learn there's no such thing as a hero or a villain, like in Haitian history or in any history. And then I'm thinking a lot about right now, and about my heroes, and in particular about my heroes that have turned into villains. And it all kind of came together when I was listening to this album, and I realized what it reminded me the most of. It reminded me the most of this, Donda, by Kanye West, now known as Ye. Heroes and villains. The person, Kanye West, Ye, has turned himself into a villain, right? Obviously. It's terrible. The things he's saying, the people he's hurting, the ideas he's mainstreaming or that he's broadcasting, the people he's with, it's just terrible. It's not excusable through mental health or whatever it is, it's just terrible. So he's self-destructing. But the thing is, with an album like this, by Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, we're reminded that we're still living in the world that the artist made. The person may be a villain, but the artist is still a hero. Think about how many great artists we've had like this. James Brown, inventing multiple forms of music, perfecting multiple forms of music, being a wife beater. Similar way, Ike Turner, creating modern electric guitar. Pablo Picasso, Woody Allen, hell, even Harvey Weinstein really changed the way movies are made and distributed and produced. So why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about Ye in this video about Metro Boomin? It's because I realized when listening to Heroes and Villains, this is the closest I've felt to when I first felt listening to Donda. Okay? Really. Now, if you know me, you know I love Donda. It's a great album. But Donda 2 is, I still think, a great album. I defend Donda 2. I will continue to defend it. But it doesn't really feel that way that Donda 1 does. So let me explain, what do I mean? What is it about this Heroes and Villains that makes me feel like it's a spiritual sequel to Donda? The first and most evident thing is it's producer-led, right? It's putting the producer up front. Whatever else Ye has done, he has been the strongest and clearest voice for the importance of rap producers and why we should take rap producers seriously as artists. Of course, there were producers before and producers after, from Marley Marl to DJ Premier, but Ye is the one who really made the argument for the artist, the producer as an artist, with a capital A. Another thing that makes it similar, this album is super long, it's just sprawling all over the place, But yet it's kind of cohesive. I think Donda's cohesive. I think that it manages to be sprawling and cohesive, expansive, but never overstays its welcome. Unlike frequent collaborators like Drake and Future, it doesn't feel like it has what I call streaming bloat. There's no point on the album where I'm like, all right, this is just here to get an extra fraction of a cent. So, okay, producer-led, sprawling yet cohesive. Also, let's think about the guest appearances. The thing that Ye can do, because he's Ye, is make sure that everyone brings their Ye game. Sorry. I don't have a script, I just have notes. And if you look, you will see I did not put everyone brings their Ye game. It's not on there, I improvised that. Smash the like bucket if you think that's hilarious. Smash the like bucket if you don't. Smash like. Tell me what you think about the lighting on this video. This is new lighting, which I like, except I don't like the way it bounces off my forehead Makes me feel self-conscious, but I'm just going to keep going. He gets the best out of his collaborators, and that's really what we see with Metro Boomin as well. Now, I'm not an expert, okay? I am not an expert on Southern rap. I was born in Boston, grew up on the East Coast. My top 5, all dudes from the East Coast, okay? Lil Wayne's not on there, Kendrick's not on there, Eminem's not on there, okay? I'm always just Mr. East Coast, okay? And it's taken a while for me to really understand the value of Southern rappers. It has. It's taken me a while to lose that snobbery. And if you're pissed at me, that's fine, but I'm just admitting that I was wrong. I'm not saying like they did something wrong. Like I had to expand my palate. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't used to like eating Southern food either. And eventually I had to expand my palate. But this is the best I've ever heard 21 Savage, and I'm including the album that he did with Metro Boomin. This is the best I've heard Future. This is the best I've heard Don Toliver, and I love that Don Toliver solo album. Now, it might not be the best Travis Scott I've ever heard. I can't tell. Maybe I'm just projecting based on his recent history. It feels to me like he's slumping. Maybe he is. Now, these aren't the only guest appearances, but these are the main ones that recur, almost like a stable of artists. And so we have this producer who's producing at this high level, and these rappers who rap at this high level, and all of them in this kind of great Southern style. But it's not just the collaborators who are rapping, there's the collaborators who are producing. Same thing. If you can read all the writing right there, black on black on black on black on both sides, none more black, like, there's tons of co-producers on Donda. And it makes you go like, well, what's Ye even doing? Like, what does he even do? Like, is this 88 Keys or is this Ye? Like, who's actually doing this work, right? Who's making these things happen? And it's Ye. That's the answer. Who's making all this happen? It's Metro Boomin. That's the answer. He has collaborators. He has people who help him. He has things. He has other people who can help his vision. But it's very clear it is his vision. And going back and looking at my notes on every other time I've talked about Metro Boomin, I've realized I've been selling him short. Now, I've always liked his work. I've never thought that he was just a joke, But I've sort of kind of looped him together with the rest of the kind of Atlanta guys. Speaking of which, pay attention to this channel. I'll eventually be doing a review of this new book, Rap Capital, Atlanta Story by Joe Coscarelli. Metro Boomin is mentioned only 3 times in this book. It's mostly about the Migos. It's interesting, though. I'm sort of like, Metro Boomin, Pierre Bourne, all the same, all the same. Like that's how ignorant my earballs were. So looking back at it, I realized Metro Boomin has never been simple. Metro Boomin always develops his beats. Always. He always does something. And maybe this is why he has other producers, maybe not. But there's a development and a growth within each song. So maybe he's actually just always been this good. But I'm pretty sure, and please tell me in the comments, okay? I listened to All Heroes Wear Capes, but I didn't review it. I haven't spent a lot of time with it. As far as I can tell, this album really is a jump up for Metro Boomin. And I think the best example of what Southern rap can be. Before I get into the actual album, I just want to make one pitch. Statistically, most of my viewers are younger than me, and that's part of the shtick. Like I'm an old guy talking about the young guys, okay? But don't just think of me like that. Think of me as a model to follow. Because I ignored Southern rap, and I didn't pay any attention in 2015. I didn't listen to DS2. I didn't listen to any of it. I just heard, I said, these people are mumbling, right? It's just all that junk. Now, since I started this channel, since I picked up this hobby in the lobby, like, I listen to so much Southern rap that I have this discernment. And do you know how much better this discernment makes my life? Do you know how much better it is that I can hear the difference between an album produced by Metro Boomin and an album produced by someone who produces like Metro Boomin but isn't as good as Metro Boomin? Like, that is a joy. That's a joy which goes away with age. It really does. It'll reach a point where you'll hear new music and you'll just go, meh. So just remember that, okay? Remember that when you turn 25, when you turn 30, that like I got to listen to this album by Metro Boomin and I was head nodding, I was dancing in my kitchen, I was driving to Wegmans doing groceries at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I felt like I was going to Magic City. I believe that's a strip club in Atlanta. I've never been to Atlanta except the airport. I'm not being stereotypical. I'm not making fun of Atlanta. That is actually factually accurate. I do hope to go there someday though, because I like the TV show, and it is the rap capital. The East lost. It's not New York. It's Atlanta now. Shh. Don't tell the hip hop heads. They hate it when that happens. But Atlanta really is the center of rap right now. I don't make the rules. I just observe the game. Damn, that's cheesy, but I came up with it on the spot, so I'm going to give myself a pass. I am going to get to a stamp. My stamp is the second track of the album, but I need to start with the first one, okay? On Time. Obviously, we have some gospel, or at least inspirational music to start off. Again, I think very clearly hearing the Donda influence there. But then it's just strings and John Legend. And the funny thing is, you're like, how is this even rap music? How is this rap music? The way this is rap music is the cadence of John Legend, the way that he's singing and going along with these strings. And then eventually the drums come in and add all this strength to it. And it's just amazing. And then we get Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman, who was on the last project with 21 Savage, 21, on God. He was there, and he did these little interludes. But this, and I, on Instagram, Genius posted this, and it's my favorite thing. I copied it and posted it on my Instagram page. You can follow me on Instagram, too, if you want. I don't post much. It's easier for me to make an hour-long video than it is to make one Instagram post. It's true. But this thing where, there's the famous Metro Boomin producer tag. If Young Metro don't trust you, I'ma shoot you, by Future. Which has mostly been supplanted by Young Thug going, Metro! Metro! Why does my lock keep making the noises? You hear that, right? I have a automatic lock back there. Anyways. So if Young Metro don't trust you, I'ma shoot you. It's almost like a meme at this point, that's his producer tag. So this has Morgan Freeman saying, if Young Metro doesn't trust you, motherfucker, you better run. And I just swore. I don't swear much on this video. I think I'll get away with it. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it. It's just so funny. What I said on Genius is true. I think this is one of the greatest moments in American cultural history. And I'm not joking at all. Because it's Morgan Freeman who so often is this voice that a lot of white Americans project what they want African Americans to be. They want them to be safe and wise and magical and safe and safe and safe and wise and magical and safe and wise. And so Morgan Freeman playing against type, saying, first of all, using the Sam Jackson word. Second of all, just having fun with it. Just something about this is just these two amazing African-American artists who could not be further on the spectrum from each other. Okay, Oscar winning. Wait, actually, did he ever win an Oscar? I don't think he did. He didn't. God damn it. How did he not win? Anyways, a should have been Oscar winning Morgan Freeman and should be Grammy winning Metro Boomin. Maybe he has, but still just the totally different sides, all of them coming together in a very funny joke. And then leads to this middle section. And if you haven't listened to this middle section, listen again. Listen to what he's doing. He's got this crazy, back and forth with these, kind of out-of-tune horns. Reminds me a little bit of Dvorak, the classical composer. And then there's, these little horns, almost like Mexican horns going underneath. And then this operatic choir voice. And then there's, that operatic voice going. And then there's a monologue by Homelander from The Boys. And what better villain and hero could we have than Homelander? Homelander, if you've never seen The Boys, is the best reason to watch The Boys. I think it's on Amazon. He is one of the great modern villains. If we're going to have a villain's Mount Rushmore, you got Darth Vader, Eric Killmonger, Homelander, and a fourth one. You tell me the fourth one. But don't say Skeletor. That's your nostalgia talking. It's not a good villain. Okay? So just, you tell me the fourth, but those are at least three of them on there. Homelander is amazing because he's a very modern villain. His weaknesses that turn him into a monster are very relatable to our modern age. So it's just a very interesting, challenging, quote that we have here. But what Metro Boomin does is he makes this album feel seamless. There's only one song on this album I think is not very good. All of them are good except for that one song. And it leads right into the next song, which is The Stamp. Click, and it keeps going. And it keeps the same atmosphere, the same rainy atmosphere from the first song where there's lots of raining. And then Future's voice comes in. And I swear this is as good as Future ever is. I love hearing the same orchestral thing happening, but now there's really good, southern beats happening in here. Future saying, drinking dope turned me into a superhero. I don't think it works that way. It's okay, Future. I know. He struggles with addiction. It's weird, man. Syrup rap is so weird because it really seems like nobody enjoys it, I guess it makes sense because very few people rapped about like doing addictive drugs and being happy about it. They rapped about doing non-addictive drugs and being happy about it. It just feels just always really bad. But $2.50, that's the cheapest one. Stacking these hundreds up like coupons. Told you from the begin, upper echelon, stacking up. I'm untouchable. I go to represent money multiple. When I say the lyrics to you, it's not great. It's not. But his style, his delivery, his sleepy delivery is like signature and spectacular. It's just great. I love it. That album, I defend it. That last album, the last Future album was great. I think it deserves to be on the Emmy nominations. I think it deserves to be one of the albums that loses to Kendrick. And then there's like a weird thing where it quotes Jay-Z, So Appalled, which is weird because actually Kanye is on the credits for this song. For So Appalled, live long enough to see yourself become a villain. So the line from Dark Knight. And then we get Chris Brown. Now, in what ways is Donda a little bit... Is this like Donda having Chris Brown back? This theme of hero and villain? I'm surprised Marilyn Manson didn't make an appearance on this album. There's a point where Chris Brown says, who's really the villain? And I have the answer. It's you. Hey, I answered your question for you. Next song is Too Many Nights featuring Don Toliver and Future. Awesome, blown out bass line. Seriously, the production on this album is so good. It seems like really dirty, but then the voice of Don Toliver has a certain sweetness and cleanness to it. This wonderful echoey atmosphere, kind of like a yeah in the back. And then Future comes back and he's in his sort of penitent mode. It's beautiful. And it leads into Raindrops, where the ominous rain that was at the beginning of the album is continuing here. And there's lots of themes of rain and water all the way through here. And the beat basically doubles itself. He does this thing where he does almost like double time on the beats. It's quite nice. Very interesting. The lighting just keeps getting wilder out here because it's basically night out there. And then it's very yellow behind me. Who cares, right? If I were you, I wouldn't even watch me. This is basically just a podcast, so... like Travis Scott is here. He keeps on saying double cup the pain, which I think is another interesting line, going back to the sort of inherent sadness of syrup. And the thing about Travis Scott, even if it seems like he might be, not at his top, he has like three guys at once. I mean, he has so many different styles. Like I had to keep checking, like, is this really just one guy? And at the same time, underneath, the production's changing too. Like, there's there's different kinds of trap beats. And one of my favorites is where it feels languid, like stretched out. And this one, it feels kind of stretched out. Next song is Umbrella. It's a cover of Rihanna, produced by Tricky. It's not really. It's with 21 Savage and Young Nudie? Nutty? Nudwy? And You Die. This is cool because in the beginning it has a total change of register. It's upbeat, atmospheric, piano, triumphant, and then you're like, nah, I'm just kidding. And then it goes right back into the rain-soaked Atlanta streets. Does it rain a lot in Atlanta? I don't know. It's raining a lot on this album. And I know he's from St. Louis. This makes back-to-back episodes by people from St. Louis, 100 Gex. Now Metro Boomin. Let's give St. Louis its props, but he's an Atlanta artist, And then just like this great piano dark loop and a very strained, like this trap beat is what I call strained, where it feels like, it's all done by machines, but it feels like there's somebody who's playing the hi-hat and like they're having a hard time hitting it as many times as they have to. And then we get 21 Savage. And I have to tell you something. 21 Savage is kind of ruined for me. There's a YouTube comedian, okay, called KY from Da Woods, who does these he has a whole series of imitations of the 21 Savage and Drake. And he says a lot of things that I can't even explain here because it's not the kind of jokes that, white dudes can make. But his impersonation of 21 Savage, always saying his ad-libs, 21, like, it's so funny because there's certain rappers where, like, very few people do good rap impressions, right? I'll give you the top three. Jay Pharoah doing Jay-Z, Chris D'Elia doing Eminem, and of course, number one of all, Dave Chappelle doing Lil Jon. But like Lil Jon, like I can't see Lil Jon and not think of Dave Chappelle. And a part of me cannot hear 21 Savage without thinking of the little studio that Kai from Da Woods created. And just imagine this guy's always saying, 21, on God, pussy, 21, on God. But don't worry. I don't think of it the whole time. Because 21 Savage is great. And he goes so well with Metro Boomin. Like they both, it's funny because they both are they both fulfill the stereotype that I have as a elite East Coast rap fan of sort of the soundscape and what they rap about and how it sounds and how they rhyme and all this. But they both do it so well that it's proof that kind of arrogance and elitism is unfounded. Because no one's doing better stuff than 21 Savage. Okay, some people are, but there's 21 Savage is as good of a rapper as is out there right now when he's good, like he is here. In particular, also, I think he's funny. I think 21 Savage is funny. I think he tries to be funny. Like, listen to the way he says the word jalapeno pepper. Okay? Kai from the Woods, can you just do the thing and do jalapeno pepper? Like, seriously, I will never eat a jalapeno pepper again for the rest of my life without thinking about the way 21 Savage over enunciates jalapeno pepper. I don't even know how he says it. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up here, but it's very funny. And then young Nudai comes on, and he's just got this great whiny southern twang. And what's cool is that 21, Metro knows what to do, or his co-producers know what to do, and they add something different behind him. They add a little piano doing something. And then young Nudie has my favorite line on the album, "Money and violence go together." I like that because that's a development of the concept of behind every fortune there's a crime. Okay? It's true. Okay? Behind every fortune there is a crime of some sort. But money and violence going together just simplifies it and makes it quite true. Next song is called Trance with Travis Scott and Young Thug. This is great because it has like this underwater sound, this muffled bass, but the voice, again, Travis Scott is just so dynamic. He's able to go all over the place. And then Young Thug, like I reviewed a Young Thug album. I'm like, why isn't Young Thug always this good? Am I just missing, or is it just me? Or is he way better on this project than he was on his last solo album? He's got this light, high voice, and again, like the producing on here, they double up the bass and even sort of triple the bass drum. It's just so well produced. Leading on to Around Me, which is just Don Toliver, which is a nice sort of break. The beat sort of reminds me of a cross between Bombs Over Baghdad and the intro song for the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. That sounds crazy, but now that I've told you, you go back and listen to it and tell me. And now, from North Carolina. Okay, I think you could do that. Some more doubled voice of Don Toliver, like kind of speeding up and slowing down. And, Don Toliver is great because, like with a lot of these people, who's the guy I was talking about? Ty Dolla $ign. A lot of these like R&B / rapper guys, they tend to be a lot more R&B than rap. Don Toliver seems like the most just right down the center. He does say at some point, got to keep a couple drugs around me, got to keep a couple plugs around me. I have a bone to pick. Like, don't call your drug dealer a plug, right? What do I know? I don't do drugs. I've never dealt drugs. I've never bought drugs. I've never done drugs. So that's but from what I understand, a plug is an intermediary who helps connect you to a large quantity of drugs that you can then buy and then sell. That's what a plug is. That's why it's such a big deal to find the good plug. Oh, I got the great plug. Hooray. That's what drug dealers do. I've got the great plug. Hooray. Just in case you want to know what they do. But I've been hearing a lot of people refer to, like, I need drugs, where's my plug? It's like, if you need it for yourself, you're just a fiend, you know? You can't use the cool term, you know? That'd be like, you know, if you were like, I need to find my distributor. You mean you need to buy a beer? Yeah, you know? You go to a liquor store. Another great interlude with Morgan Freeman. A little more poetic here. Barely knowing the ledge despite coping with living their whole life as two hands. And then we get Metro Spider, where again, Young Thug is so good. This is my favorite Young Thug song. Tell me in the comments, what else has Young Thug done that is this good? But just the beat, it's like epic with these choral vocals and these bells. And Thug is just at the absolute top of his game. So many layers, there's like laughter in the back. And then like he keeps going. He keeps changing up. He keeps doing different things. Like he has this run on the word here, and then later a run on the word there. And what's cool is that those are both pointy words. Those are with Germanic origin, so they're a little bit pointier. You know, words like knife. You know, words that have that kind of punch to it, unlike the words that come from French, which are generally gentler. And I associate Young Thug with southern, more mumbly, more auto-tuned, not pointy stuff. So it's cool because it's kind of like bleh, and then the pointy here, there. And then he just keeps doing this thing where he keeps on saying, Metro, Metro, Metro bought me a pink front bezel. And who cares what a pink front bezel is? I assume it's a watch? A pink front bezel? I don't know. Who cares? But what's great is just the way that the sound kind of drops out. He just repeats those words, Metro, Metro, Metro. And it ends with a seamless change into I Can't Save You, which is called an interlude, but it's not. It starts off with Future and his just, I'm tweaking, I'm geeking. I just have the impression that Future is just, I think he's lying. He can't possibly be that zonked out all the time and be as successful and good as he is. Don Toliver is just back and clear and good, and then Future comes on, he's just in that desperate mode. And if you listen super carefully, listen with your big boy ears, your big girl ears, you're going to hear some G-Funk synthesizers at times behind on the beat. Little details that pop up. He just keeps on saying, I can't save you, I can't save you, I can't save you, I can't save you, over and over again. Now, I don't know who's depending on Future to save them. I suppose this is like a financial question. But it's fascinating in this greater context of heroes and villains. In general, the connection to the greater theme, it's never belabored. It's like the themes of heroes and villains pop up, but the whole thing, it's not cute with it, you know? It's like it's a general thematic, but it is not a concept album. I said it. This is not a concept album. But it is an album with a consistent thematic of heroes and villains. Speaking of which, it ends with the line, all villains wear a grin. Beautiful, smiling faces. We get to the song Creepin', which obviously is an attempt at Hurricane. Sorry, Metro. You didn't match Hurricane, but that's okay. No one can match Hurricane. It has The Weeknd, and I was like, this sounds familiar. What is this from? Cool kind of underwater beat. Weeknd's voice is just so beautiful. I don't want to know if you're creeping. Please don't let it show. I think about you and I hold you, and then the beat kind of doubles underneath. The whole song isn't there a song on the last Weeknd album where he talks about not wanting to be told if he's being cheated on? It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to say I don't want to. But then, thank you, whosampled.com. They don't sponsor me, but hey, free advertisement. Whosampled.com is the website I wish existed my entire life. Because I was thinking, like, is this Houdini? Is that what this is? And then I figured out that it's basically a cover. And actually, if you listen to the original song, I Don't Want to Know, it's kind of a cheesy cover. It actually reminds me of like a 90s style Puff Daddy cover. You know how like Puff Daddy used to like just take an entire song and then just go, yeah, at the end of a thing, and then you just call it a rap. That's my rap song. I did it. I am the rappers, you know? So who did Metro Boomin and The Weeknd rip off to do this very Puff Daddy-like trick? Oh, they ripped off Puff Daddy. So, no harm, no foul. Mario Winans with Diddy is the original song. Listen to it. And what's fascinating about the original song is that it samples Enya and an EPMD drum beat off the album Strictly Business. But then I still wasn't there. I'm like, what does this remind me of? And I kept listening. I'm like, it's not just Enya. And then I realized it's the same sample the Fugees used on Ready or Not. The same Enya sample. So, there you go. Which means that when 21 Savage comes on, when 21 Savage comes on God, when he comes in, he's playing the Diddy role. Because Diddy raps a verse at the end of this, and it's all about being cheated on. My favorite 21 Savage lyric, and again, this is why I think 21 Savage, despite the fact that he raps so much about murder, I think he's a funny guy. Because he talks about buying a girl a Benz, and then he says, "Girl, you used to ride in a rinky-dink." That's funny. It's funny. You used to ride in a rinky-dink? I don't think that's not street slang. Tell me. Okay, tell me. Because Lord knows, whenever I say something is not street slang, you street slang fellas on the internet, tell me all about it. But I don't think rinky-dink is standard slang for a bad car. I think it just fits the rhyme. It's great. Niagara Falls, Foot on 2. Niagara Falls, about an hour and a half from me right here. With Travis Scott, again, cool twisted synthesizer sounds, another kind of underwater beat, and then these great, strong, clear pianos. There's great play between muddled sounds and clear sounds all the way throughout this album. A great interaction between Travis Scott and 21 as well. Again, 21 is just hilarious. His ad-libs are funny. Crib the size of a Galleria, Porsche headlights, Kermit the Frog. Oh, a Porsche looks like Kermit the Frog. I get it. It does. A Porsche does look like a frog. It's funny because last week I reviewed the Brockhampton album and said that the guy had the dorkiest lyric ever, saying his Lamborghini looked like Bulbasaur. But this is pretty dorky too. It all goes back to Designer saying his X7 looked like a panda. Panda. You know that song Panda? That's why it was called Panda. Yeah. And then he says, Michael Vick, number 7, I'm a dog. Weird. It's weird. I don't like how, I understand why people use Michael Vick so much. But speak of heroes and villains. Very, very catchy chorus that Travis Scott says, I believe, 39 times. But so many beat changes underneath that the repetition is fine. Repetition of the idea of not all heroes wear capes. And then, most importantly, villains are not born, they're made. And again, I want to go back to this Ye conversation that we're having. And just in general. Because the crazy thing is, right? And oh, Jesus. Ye is not right that they say anything good about Hitler. But if we're to make a kind observation of it, it's that all human beings deserve empathy and understanding. That's not what he's saying, but that's what I would say, right? So villains deserve empathy and understanding. That doesn't mean you shouldn't throw them in jail or shoot them in the head, kill baby Hitler all day. I'm fine with that. That's not a question. But what I'm saying is that, you can't actually have empathy for a villain without condoning what the villain does. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do that about Hitler and then also be an anti-Semite. Like, that doesn't work, But this is arguing for that kind of empathy. Villains are not born, they're made. And that's true. People are not born evil. People are born good. Just so you know. I'm giving you a definitive answer to one of, the 3 most important and long-argued questions in human history. I can just give you the answer. Human beings are born good. As Rousseau says, society is what destroys us. Then we get to the song Walk 'Em Down. Now, part of what I like about this album is I'm going to see if I can make the lighting better or something. Now that it's dark out. That's kind of better, right? A little bit nicer. It feels better to me. A little bit less ping-pongy off my forehead. Probably doesn't matter. What I like about this album, and this is, again, sort of in that Donda frame, is the variety between the songs. Now, like Donda, the primary thing that's driving everything is Atlanta, right? The number one sound behind Donda is Southern rap. It's not even the gospel stuff. It's just Southern rappers and Southern rap production style. But this is sort of a total left turn because it's just 21 Savage. This song, and I'm not kidding, This is a public service announcement about how to murder people responsibly. Hi, I'm 21 Savage, 21. And if you are like me, 21, and you know that you need to murk someone, on God, make sure you walk up to them, pussy. Don't drive by, pussy. Walk them down. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? That's what he's doing. Which, I hate to say it, but it's actually like a very positive message that needs to be spread around. You know? Like, the collateral murders are terrible, and it's a weird thing that I've never heard, because drive-bys were so fascinating, and, whatever, that Compton's Most Wanted album, Music to Drive By, great play on words. But, I like this. I like this idea that it's like, don't do this. I won't hit no kids. I'm a walk my mans down. Like, that's what he says. And he's just like, he's dark and scary, but he's also kind of funny. And at certain points, there's like the sub bass, but then the piano cuts in. And then another certain point, there's this snare hit that is added into this transition, into this chorus. And just seriously listen. Just listen. Listen to these little snare hits. And then it changes completely. And someone named Mustafa comes on. And he's just over this gentle beat. And there's actually like no beat, really. Like, there's no drum beat, really. There's sort of like, every once in a while, there'll be this kind of bonk sound, like Yeezus on site. Bonk. You know that sound that is all over the album, Yeezus? Bonk. That sound. That sound we have a little bit of. Sometimes a bass drum will pop in. But then we have, really, I don't know. This might be the singer of the album. This might even be better than The Weeknd. Especially understanding that The Weeknd is just singing a Mario Winans song with more soul. Winans? I don't know who Mustafa is, but his voice is just so fragile and frail and good. Told my man to leave town, but he don't have the bread to leave the gutter. I mean, just a heartbreaking line. And in the context of the front half of this song, the whole song is like, it's epic in the sense of it being an epic story. This person talking about, I will kill you in the broad daylight, I'll kill you at night, but I'm not going to drive by. I'm going to walk up to you and kill you, as opposed to run, as opposed to drive by, as opposed to rollerblading. Okay, I don't know how they do it. Razor scooter? Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I've never murdered anyone either. But, like, the idea that that's the sort of the front load of the song is this whatever, fairly standard, I'm a cold killer, I kill all my ops. And then the back is this like plaintive song about death and about murder and about... It's great. It's a great song. It's a great song that has no business being that deep, which I would sort of say about this whole album. Lock on Me, Travis Scott and Future again. This is the low point of the album. This is just not a good song. Damn it, Metro Boomin. I mean, please, don't mistrust me. You can trust me, okay? But it's just like the guitars, like that No Scrubs style guitar. Ding. Future's pretty strong on it, but I can't, like, it's weird because he doesn't have his effects, and I don't like him without his effects, and Travis Scott is good, and it fades out. Don't you know you're not supposed to fade out? That's what Ye told us on that album in 2018. No fade outs. Who was that singer he was with? You know that? Damn it. Tiana. Tiana? Was it Tiana Taylor? That's a really good album. Then the album ends with, I think maybe the second to last song was bad on purpose to set you up for this. Again, I was like, all right, we're just going to just take the album out. And then it's a hard right turn. Total shift. Only time he's the sole producer on the album, and we get this. Very much in the Ye vein again. I miss the old Kanye, the pitched soul song, Kanye. That's what this is here. But then A$AP Rocky is on here to maybe sort of break up the southern feel, kind of different flow. But eventually the beat becomes trap, and the beat gets a lot more developed. And then look it up. It's Thundercat on bass, star of Star Wars, Thundercat. And then it slows down and speeds up, and then there's Takeoff. And I understand, Takeoff is gone. It's terrible, senseless, pointless death. It's very sad. And it doesn't feel exploitative the way he is here. I mean, it's weird, right? Because Young Thug is like going to be in jail for the rest of his life, and then Takeoff is dead. So maybe that makes sense why this sort of southern sound is so dark. Damn. might be able to make an interesting case that I'm probably not the only one. Has anyone done that? Like exploring Southern rap as and comparing it to Southern Gothic literature, like Flannery O'Connor and Faulkner and all that. I think you probably could, because there's a lot of like grotesque and Southern themes, and a lot of death, and perversion and monstrosity. Huh. Anyways, but look forward to me maybe doing a video on that, or you telling me that someone else has already done it. But Takeoff is just, he has this great verse, and I only reviewed one Migos album. They've only released one album since I started this channel, and I just thought they were fine. I didn't think they were great. I didn't think they were terrible. I can tell you, reading this book makes me realize I got to spend a lot more time with Migos, because most of these pages in here are all about Migos. I just want to hear about Jermaine Dupri. But like as an example of Takeoff's skill, he does this whole alphabet verse, but he does it like not in a cheesy way. We the one they want to be, like the letter after A. I bought my B a new C, then I took her to the D. She said she want to take an E. Don't go anywhere without my F and N. No Givenchy, I'm a G. They don't want smoke or my heat. So instead of saying H, he says a word with H. I just count, stacking like Money Mitch. So like he kind of skips over I, J, K, L. Oh, I guess there is like Money Mitch. Name a N-word, not me. I'll wait. Out the country pushing P. It's quiet. Q, right? R, now in the streets. S, trick or treat. Y. Why did he skip ahead to Y? Because I had to buy her a V. Why wouldn't you get your money to spend? No sleep. Pushing Z's. So, it goes through the alphabet. It's not super forced. It's kind of cute. It's nice. And then the whole thing ends with a really strong verse from A$AP Rocky. So there you go. Just great. Really, really great. I'm so happy again that I now have the ears to hear it, because I just didn't have the ears to hear it. Now I'm releasing this on Sunday morning. I'm recording this on Saturday night, and I'm right now going to my favorite record store in Rochester, New York, Record Archive, and I'm going to buy records. And the reason I can buy records is because my Patreons give me money. So thank you to all these folks. Man, this font, is that clear? Is that clear enough, Patreons? Are you annoyed? Can you not see that well enough? Anyways, so these are the people that give me money and help me. You can go there too if you want. So tell me, what did you like about this album? Like buckets. Oh, I saw someone today who said thank you for making it this far. I should do that. Thank you. Like, you've made it super far. And, these videos are long. And sometimes maybe, I mess around too much talking about the light off my forehead. So I appreciate you making it this far. I really, really do. And I read every comment. I don't comment on everyone because my kids say it makes me look desperate. But I read every single comment. Usually more than once. So, all right. Till next time, there's the camera.